And I've always supported you on this one, that pass where bloody Tom Carr spoiled, and so that was a frustrating game. But now we've got to the point here, Pete, where I said there was a point with Roger. It's not quite as funny as Brett's ending up playing for Adelaide.
I've waited to hear this one all night.
Tips, but give us a story. What happened? You were into 99. You're off for a drive from Linddock to Alberton, and what was about to happen and what did happen, Rog?
That was actually at the end of 98.
Sorry. Yep.
Obviously the trade period had started, and I didn't have a great year. So at the start of 98, I'd done my knee. I took over 50% of my cartilage out, and it really niggled me all year. So I had another clean out at the end of it, and Port were willing to trade me. So trade week came, final day, Carlton were interested. So I think they were going to try and do a deal. Jared Cotton and myself were going to go to Carlton. And I talked to my wife, well, not wife at the time, she was waiting, still my missus. And we talked about it, and I was like, well, I think it's my only option, that Port don't really want me. Carlton do, so we're going to go. So that day we'd made up our mind that we were going. My manager at the time was Ian Brown, which was a full-on Norwood bloke back in the day as well.
Right. Yep.
And he'd come up to Kersbrook actually, and we'd been talking about it. And we drove down from Kersbrook, got to Modbury, and Port rang us. And this was only half an hour or an hour before the deadline. And they said, look, the deal's fallen through. Carlton have taken Matthew Lappin. Enjoy your time at Port. So I still had, I think, a year to go on my contract. I don't know how I felt about that, but I thought, well, not sure if Port are really that keen on me. But obviously 99 came around, and I'd played a fair bit of footy at Norwood in 99. I think I played most of the first half of the year at Norwood.
Yep.
And then I finally got a gig. I played West Coast, I think over there, played probably a quarter, got dropped. And then finally, I think I was an emergency for a Collingwood game on a Friday night in MCG. Someone pulled out. I actually played all right. And, eventually
went.
held my spot and away I went. So,
and who was the coach for you during that time there?
In 99, it was Choco.
Yeah.
How did you find Choco and his methods?
Loved Choco, yep. He was actually a school teacher, so he the way he did stuff, it was easy to learn, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The way he explained stuff, and he went out of his way to make sure you knew what you were doing as well. So yeah, I was wrapped with Choco as a coach.
And you also rated the late Phil Walsh in terms of his ability to explain structures and setups and all that, Rog.
Oh, for sure. Walshy was on top of his game. He was one of the first blokes to bring in the video stuff with all our clearances. He'd go through it, and he nailed everything on the head so well. So we'd go out and do stoppages, and he'd tell you where to stand, how to stand, where to position yourself. Because you've already watched it on the screen, everything made sense, and it was easy for you, if you know what I mean. He was unreal, Phil Walsh.
Do you think the late great Phil Walsh would have won a premiership with the Crows if he was allowed to finish what he started?
Oh, mate, I definitely think he would have took him close for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And now, Rog, you had a couple of big games against Brisbane overall when you delivered the chocolates a couple of times.
Yeah, a couple of times. I was lucky enough in 2002, our last minor round game. I think it was for the minor premiership that, I ended up playing all right. And luckily enough, I think I kicked the winning goal with a couple of minutes to go.
Yeah.
So,
and
then I think it was the next year. I think we played them up there.
Yes.
Mid 2003. Bit of a different one, but I kicked the final 2 points for the game, so that got us over the line.
Still counts.
A win's a win. Yep.
Win's a win, yeah, exactly.